Tonight we have Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond from Heaven Hill Distillery. Let's review it. So stick around and pour up. It's the Bourbon Night. Hey, welcome back. My name is Brock, and thanks for joining me in this episode where tonight we're diving into the Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond from Heaven Hill Distillery and seeing if it's worth the price. I know this is something that has just came out not too long ago, in the last month or two, and in North Carolina it's fairly hard to find. I've seen it pop up here and there, but I was able to pick this up in Georgia. MSRP for this is $60. And I paid a little over MSRP just to get it. I don't know if that's FOMO that got me or whatnot, but I ended up paying $80. So $20 over MSRP in Georgia. But again, haven't seen it around. And when I went to the first store in Georgia, there was sitting on the shelf for $79.99, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So a little bit about the Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond from Heaven Hill. Aged for 7 years. 100 proof, of course, because it's bottle and bond. The mash bill for this is going to be the 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. And again, MSRP is about $60. I gotta say the packaging with the little sleeve on it, really nice packaging. Beautiful bottle, of course. And you know, this is the little brother to the big brother for the decanter series for the Old Fitzgerald. Like I have one over here actually. So, you know, this right here, the 19-year that I want to have specifically, you know, known for quality, really good stuff. This is to compete with some of the everyday shelfers at that price point for 7-year bottle and bond. There's a lot of them that are kind of in that price range, 45 to 50, $60 as well too. So again, I think the intention here from what we've understood from the press release and everything else, this is intended to be a shelfer. But at this point, it's still kind of new, so it's kind of hard to find, so we won't really be able to see it a whole lot. But let's get on with doing a review of this real quick. So let's pop this. I did share this a little bit over that weekend when I picked it up, just to kind of air it out a little bit and open it up, but haven't touched it since then. So let's give it a quick pour. And we'll go ahead and nose it, see what we think. Get on the palate and finish, and then from there, I did want to compare it to the other 7 here. This is the old granddad that came from the Jim Beam Distillery from a couple months ago, I think it released. And so I've got that bottle over here just off the screen. And after we do the review, we're going to do a quick comparison on it just to see which one might be the better buy based on my palate. And maybe this will be some good information for you guys when you're out hunting for these, which ones might be the better purchase. So, but for now, let's go ahead and talk about the Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond. So let's go ahead and get this on the nose. Right off the rip, just like some dried fruits with some like woodiness, like a dried, maybe peach. Yeah, a little dry woodiness going along with this as well too. Not too bad on the nose. If I had to guess on the oak, the woodiness there comes across maybe a little tannic, like it could be bitter maybe perhaps, but we'll see. All right, let's try this on the palate. Okay, pretty good. There's a little bit of like sweetness, a little bit like honey or cookie or graham cracker kind of thing going on a little bit. That's pretty good. A little bit of sweetness. Some of the oak is coming through there too. It's got a pretty good oak backbone to it. A little bit of vanilla. There's some spice coming through as well too. Maybe that's cinnamon or a little bit of spice to it as well too. So pretty good on the palate. It's got a little bit of on the finish, a little bit of bitterness. I don't know if it's oak or maybe like a semi-sweet chocolate or bitter chocolate on the back end of it too. The finish is kind of short, maybe to medium. Didn't hang around too long. And again, you know, for what you're paying for $60, you know, don't have the mindset that it's going to be like the Old Fitz decanter series. So that's a different, unique animal, totally separate from this right here too for what's intended for. So the quality may not be the same level as the decanter series. So just keep that in mind as you're trying this for the first time. and you're spending 60 bucks on this, right? But I think overall, pretty good finish to it. Palate, it's got some woodiness. It's got a little bit of sweetness coming on through there, a little cinnamon coming through. You know, the nose is pleasant with some of that dried fruit and a little bit of vanilla on that as well too. So I think overall, you know, I think this compares well at 60 bucks. Would I pay over MSRP for this? No. Should I have paid over probably for that based on what I'm tasting? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it's just a solid sipper that's just slightly elevated among your daily sippers. And again, Old Fitz, you know, with this new bottle style, it's kind of a cool piece to have on your bar to talk about as well too. So I think, you know, for the price, the value at 60 bucks is pretty fair. So definitely worth trying it out. I think for 60 bucks, depending on, you know, how much money you like to spend on bourbon to try something new or whatnot, it would be worth the purchase. Otherwise, you probably find it at bars because it'll be popular because of the Old Fitz lineup. And it's a cool bottle again, so you'll probably find it at a bar somewhere. Give it a shot. I've got a pour. I think it's definitely worth it for that. So the other thing I mentioned earlier on too is I have the Jim Beam Old Granddad 7-year bottle of bond too, right? So this one came out earlier, that's why there's a little more gone from it. So I've had it for a little bit longer than the Old Fitz that I just got this past weekend. So what I wanted to do is pour that up and just see how it compares 7-year bottle of bond from two big legacy distilleries, right? Just see which one I might prefer, which one you might think is a better buy, or which one, depending on your palate and what you get on that, you might gravitate towards. So I've got another Glencairn here. So what I'm gonna do is we'll pour this up for the Jim Beam here, Old Granddad 7-year bottle of bond. This is gonna use their high rye mash bill, which is the 63% corn, the 27% rye, and then the 10% malted barley at the end of that too. So that's your traditional one they use for all the Old Granddad lineup. So we'll use that, and we'll pour just a smidge more of the Old Fitz 7-year here, and we'll do a quick comparison here. So we'll go through and let's nose it. Yeah, more of that dried fruit coming through on that, the woodiness, the dryness, almost the oak tannins or bitterness you can kind of get on the nose. Coming through now a little bit is more of that sweetness I was getting on the palate when I first had it. I can see it on the nose a little bit more now as well. The Old Granddad though has got more, it's got definitely more sweetness on the nose, more brown sugar. There's more caramel, a little bit of vanilla. I think on the nose personally, I tend to gravitate towards the more of the brown sugar sweetness up front. Then I do kind of the dried fruit and kind of like that oakiness, that dry woodiness that I'm getting on the front end. But a little bit of cinnamon too, right? So nothing bad or wrong with it, but it's just might be where I might lean towards more one than the other, right? All right, let's get these on the palate again real quick. There is an elegance about the Old Fitz in this. The more I sip it, the more it softens up a little bit. And it's not as tannic or bitter a little bit on the back end. Finish is still short to kind of medium. But what I'm getting on the mid palate is starting to soften up, and I'm really starting to get some of those other notes of like cinnamon, some of that dried fruit coming through again a little bit. Yeah, it's coming through pretty nicely. So it's definitely growing on my palate the more I've sipped this one too. So it's a nice pour. So Old Granddad. The nose I give the Old Granddad on the palate, the finish is a little longer. I would say it's probably more medium to not long, but medium to medium long. And it's got more of that kind of oak coming through there a little bit. There's a little bit of leather, which I was getting on this too as well. I don't think I mentioned that, but there's definitely some leatherness on the front end of that as well. This was coming through more on the palate. But overall, I think for 40 bucks, which I didn't mention, the MSRP for this is 40 bucks. This is 60 bucks, right? Both competing for shelf space, two big legacy distilleries. You know, are they worth the purchase? I think the Old Granddad, for my palate preference, I think this is a great deal for 40 bucks. Really, really good, easy, sweet sipper. A little different from the typical Jim Beam that you get on the front end with a little bit more of the nuttiness, honey, sweetness on the front, corn sweetness on the front of that. Really good, it's a light, easy sipper. It's really nice. This one's got a little bit more elegance to it. So I like the dry woodiness. I kind of like the more I smell it and get it onto the palate. The dry fruit's nice. And I think overall, it's a good sipper. Yeah, I can see there's an element of like refinement there a little bit. But I think overall, if I just based it on price point, what my palate likes, I might edge out Old Granddad for me over the Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond. So, but that's just my opinion on it too. The great thing about it is palates are subjective. So let me know your thoughts. If you've tried the Old Granddad 7-year bottle and bond, have you tried the Old Fitz 7-year bottle and bond? Let me know your thoughts if you blind it or you try them separately. Leave a comment down below, smash the like button, and until next time, sip your passion.